Chapter 2425, Asking for the Lion's Share. Published by Divine Tao Library. Translator, Salavan and Ashish. Translation checker, Pew Pew Laser Gun. Editor and proofreader, Leo of Zion Mountain and Dale Ligerkeys. Feng Shi suddenly turned pale as he coughed awkwardly. The last time Yang Kai said these words, he and Yao Zhou had lost their space rings, and now he was saying the same thing again. Who knows how he would ask for the lion's share this time? Suddenly, Feng Shi understood why he was feeling restless just now. Feng Xuan looked at Yang Kai with a weird look on his face and calmly asked, "Are you bargaining with this king?" Yang Kai glanced at him, paying no heed, and stated, "Since Senior wants this blood jade kiln, Senior must naturally pay an appropriate price for it. Senior is also a man of integrity, so surely he knows there is no such thing as a free lunch in this world, yes?" Feng Xuan somehow controlled his fury, grimacing in anger as he asked with a scoff, "How much?" Yang Kai broke into laughter. "Senior is very easy to talk to, much better than your son. Out of respect for your refreshing personality, this young master won't ask for much. I think this much will be sufficient." He stretched one finger up and waved it lightly. Feng Xuan lightly nodded, 10 million. Indeed not much. Yang Kai looked dumbfounded and failed to stop himself from laughing as he stated, 10 million. Senior must be joking, right? This blood jade kiln is something passed down in your noble sect from the hands of your ancestral founder. It might not be a treasure, but it is of great symbolic significance. In Senior's eyes, is it only worth 10 million? So, you want 100 million? Feng Xuan's eyes flickered with a cold gleam as he angrily rebuked, "Young man, your appetite is quite big. Be careful, or your belly might just burst." 100 million? Yang Kai sneered. Seeking Passion sect controls many businesses and is incredibly rich. Senior must feel embarrassed to only take out a measly sum of 100 million, and this young master is equally embarrassed to ask for such a paltry amount. Your Seeking Passion sect must not lose face here. Could it be, you want 1 billion? Feng Xuan's head was buzzing, nearly coughing up blood in anger. 1 billion mid-rank source crystals should be nothing to Seeking Passion sect, right? Yang Kai pursed his lips into a smile. Mid-rank source crystals. The corners of Feng Xuan's mouth twitched. At first, he thought that Yang Kai wanted 1 billion low-rank source crystals, but he had never expected him to want mid-rank source crystals. The difference between the two sums was 100-fold. Even if they were converted to high-rank source crystals, it would still be 10 million. Feng Xuan immediately shouted in anger, "Little beast, it turns out you were just mocking this king without the slightest sincerity to return the blood jade kiln. This king will teach you a lesson on behalf of your parents so you learn there are some people in this world you can never offend." Previously, Feng Xuan was unwilling to personally make a move on Yang Kai, mainly because of his identity and status. After all, there were many eyes on him. He, a third-order Emperor Realm Master attacking a third-order Dao Source Realm Junior, was really a shameful thing to do. However, now that Yang Kai was making such unreasonable demands, Feng Xuan finally lost his temper. No matter how embarrassing it may be, even if he killed Yang Kai now, everyone wouldn't think he was bullying the weak. After all, Yang Kai's current performance was really too disgusting. While speaking, Feng Xuan palmed towards Yang Kai, and in the blink of an eye, the heavens and earth dimmed as principles began to surge. The entire Ice Moon City seemed to have been covered by the might of this one palm strike, making everyone feel suffocated, their chests tightening as if something heavy was placed on them. Hu Yuan and the others suddenly turned pale as they promptly backed away, secretly feeling sorry for Yang Kai. This boy really didn't know the immensity of heaven and earth, repeatedly provoking a third-order Emperor Realm Master. He must really be tired of living. Everyone could almost see Yang Kai's corpse lying on the ground. Feng Xuan attacked without any warning, so by the time the Ice Heart Valley elders reacted and wanted to save Yang Kai, it was already too late. Yang Kai was also rooted in his place by the Emperor pressure, unable to move, his face pale. However, not even an ounce of fear could be found in his eyes. On the contrary, he looked calm and composed as he stared back at Feng Xuan with a look of mockery. Qi. With a soft noise, a snow-white sword qi suddenly flew out from somewhere inside the inn, shooting straight at the oncoming Feng Xuan's palm with an imposing momentum. Immediately after, a deafening explosion shook everyone's eardrums as a huge shockwave swept out in every direction, causing the buildings within a radius of 1,000 meters to rock. The palm disappeared into nothing while the blade of sword qi shot straight towards the sky, disappearing in a flash. When everyone finally regained their wits, they found a young woman standing in front of Yang Kai. This woman didn't look very old, perhaps only 17 or 18. However, her aura was extremely pure, as if she had never been defiled by the slightest dust. Feng Xuan's pupil immediately shrunk as his gaze completely fixed on this young woman. And Ruo Yun and the others' pretty eyes widened in surprise as they stared at this sudden newcomer and shouted in trembling voices, "Master! Master!" Hu Yuan and the other nearby spectators immediately came to realize who this young woman was after hearing this. Evidently, she was the ancestral founder of Ice Heart Valley, the Third Order Emperor Realm Master who had been missing for 3,000 years, Bing Yun. Disciple greets Master, and Ruo Yun and the others bowed on the ground together. Bing Yun calmly glanced at him, her thoughts impossible to read. Only sparing him a moment, she then focused her pretty eyes on Yang Kai and said with a soft snort, "You're quite bold." Obviously, she was talking about Yang Kai's constant provocation of Feng Xuan. Bing Yun had lived for over 10,000 years, but even after so long, she had never seen someone as reckless as Yang Kai. He, a trivial Third Order Dao Source Realm Junior, dared to clamor and bargain with a Third Order Emperor Realm Master. Hey hey, Yang Kai laughed, wearing a smile on his face, with Senior's backing, "Why would I be afraid?" After a pause, he nervously asked under his breath, "Have you fully recovered, Senior?" Bing Yun replied with a light snort, "Just about." Hearing this, Yang Kai couldn't help relaxing. If Bing Yun said that she had, just about, recovered, she must have completely recovered already. In other words, there was no problem with her taking action. As long as she was here to preside over the situation, there was nothing to fear from Feng Xuan. "Bing Yun, what are you doing?" Feng Xuan coldly glared at Bing Yun and shouted, "If this king remembers correctly, your Ice Heart Valley doesn't accept male disciples, right? Why did you stop this king from teaching this boy a lesson?" Bing Yun glanced back at him and replied, "Wait there while I deal with some internal affairs of my valley first. I will deal with you later." Feng Xuan immediately froze, however, he did not argue. In the entire star boundary, there were few who were qualified to speak to him like this, but Bing Yun was definitely one of them. Who knows how many times they had fought, but every time, they wound up in a draw. Bing Yun and Feng Xuan dreaded one another, so Feng Xuan still had to give her face even if he was infuriated at this moment. Bing Yun turned around and calmly said, gazing at Ruo Yun and the others, "Get up, why are you still kneeling?" And Ruo Yun and the others lowered their heads further, not one of them standing up. Bing Yun coldly snorted and said, "This queen has left for just 3 millennia and you're already having a difficult time speaking, is that right? No wonder you dare to marry off the best disciple of the valley. When did my Ice Heart Valley start to take cues from others? You little girls are truly impressive." Judging by her voice, she appeared to know the ins and outs of everything. She must have gotten some information from listening to everyone's chatter outside. And Ruo Yun's soft and exquisite figure trembled slightly as she knew that her master was truly angry, immediately stating in a panic-stricken voice, "We disciples have gone against master's teachings and ask master to punish us." Sun Yun Shu anxiously spoke up, "Master, this matter has nothing to do with the other sisters. I was the one who agreed to the marriage with Seeking Passion sect. If master wants to punish someone, it should be me alone." "You think I won't punish you?" Bing Yun glared at Sun Yun Shu. Sun Yun Shu was a second-order Emperor Realm Master, but being glared at by Bing Yun, she trembled like a mouse that had just seen a cat, clenching her teeth while trying not to utter a single cry. Right then, Ziyu intervened, "Ancestral Founder, please calm your anger. Great Elder only had the valley in mind when she did this. I ask Ancestral Founder to spare her." Her act of interceding for Sun Yun Shu really came as a surprise, even to Sun Yun Shu herself, a complicated look appearing in her pretty eyes. Bing Yun focused her gaze on Ziyu and her expression immediately softened as she calmly stated, "You are too soft-hearted. Who would have thought that you would speak on her behalf even when she was the one to push you into the fiery pit?" Ziyu, shaking her head, continued to defend Sun Yun Shu. Great Elder was helpless. If she did not do this, it would have been difficult for my fellow sisters to survive. If Ziyu's happiness can be sacrificed for the safety of the other sisters, Ziyu is willing. Even though I had such intentions, I don't know why I wanted to run away, the further, the better. This Ziyu was simply ignorant and unaware of the world. Ancestral Founder, please don't blame others. As she spoke, Ziyu broke into tears, extremely confused and saddened. Bing Yun's lips parted to say something, but ultimately she just sighed before changing her words, "Rest assured, since I'm here, no one can force you to do anything against your will." Ziyu's tears immediately turned into smiles as she bowed her head, "Many thanks, Ancestral Founder." Bing Yun's words seemed to have reassured her, making her feel at peace at once, so she no longer panicked as her fears all abated. Bing Yun looked at Sun Yun Shu again and stated, "As for your mistake, I will make a decision after I return to the valley. Get up first." "Many thanks, Master." All the women thanked in unison. Only then did they stand up. Bing Yun's gaze softened as she looked at everyone's face, discovering that over half of the Emperor Realm Masters present were the disciples she had taken in long ago. Today, they had all broken through to the Emperor Realm. Also, she had some impressions of the other emperors present. They should be outstanding disciples of the valley from the past, so while they might not be her direct disciples, all of them were among Ice Heart Valley's first generation. There were only 2 or 3 emperors she was unfamiliar with, never having seen him before. These 2 or 3 emperors' realm master must have been recruited into Ice Heart Valley by Enruo Yun and the others after she left. There were always some lone cultivators without strong backgrounds who encountered heaven-defying opportunities, allowing them to travel far on the martial Dao. Such cultivators were outstanding geniuses who would always be welcomed by great forces. Since they could cultivate to such a high realm without any support and fewer cultivation resources, they had a very high probability of advancing to the Emperor realm with such support. Yang Kai was a prime example. If cultivators like these wanted to take refuge in top sects, they only needed to pass some simple tests and inspections to join. Of course, even after joining the sect, they would be subjected to a long period of investigation and scrutiny to ensure they weren't plotting anything against the sect, and they could be entrusted with important tasks. Bing Yun looked at the unfamiliar emperors, all of whom should have been recruited into Ice Heart Valley just like this. Since they were standing here, it meant that there should be no problem with their loyalty. What about Little 3, Little 5, and Little 9? Bing Yun suddenly asked. She seemed to have some premonitions as sadness flashed across her eyes. Enruo Yun quickly replied, "Third junior sister left shortly after Master left Ice Heart Valley. She went out to seek Master's trail but lost contact with the valley, her whereabouts unknown.